Welcome. I am Cosmo, and you are watching Cosmo and the Movie Within. Today, we're doing Fantastic Four First Steps. Let us begin. All right. As Kevin Hart would say, all right, all right, all right. Hit it with a double time. So, let's get into it. Fantastic Four First Steps. So, let me just give a quick little history. Or, that's not really a rewind noise, or regardless, you know what I'm trying to say. Disney, Fox. Disney had Marvel and had a whole bunch of stuff, but Fox had X-Men and a whole bunch of other entities. Eventually, Disney bought Fox, and all Marvel fans rejoiced because then we're like, oh man, now we can add X-Men and we can add all these other properties that Marvel didn't have, Disney didn't have. If you didn't know, Disney owns Marvel. So when that first got announced, that was excellent. So we knew Fantastic Four was coming in immediately. They immediately start with X-Men. They talked about X-Men. They talked about Fantastic Four, but they set a plan that Fantastic Four was going to be the first one, and that's going to start off the wave of gelling things together. But it seemed like things were never happening, and we were at that time in like the middle of Marvel at its heyday. This is when Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, all of them, Chadwick, everybody were in the middle of that. I want to say the third phase, either the second or third phase, I forget. But we were in very high esteem, high level movies. Then it started to hit a little bit snag. The movies wasn't as, after like main characters died and people walked away. The movies, Phase 4 was kind of, lackluster. But then it started to pick up with Wolverine and Deadpool, and so now we're here to the point. They're sprinkling mutants, we're sprinkling here and there, but we're here. Fantastic Four. They've been talking about it for forever. They've been mentioning it. It seemed like it was eons away. Now we got it. So let's get into it. I had to give you that little backstory just to say how much of a big deal this was and how many years in planning this was, in a sense, taking place. We still haven't got an X-Men movie yet, and that keeps, we'll get it. So that's the only thing I can give a little critique on. They probably should have hit while the iron was hot, if you would say. Anyway, so with this movie, it was all A-list actors or all well-established actors. So we already had that from out the jump. Back in the day, it was Chris Evans again, but this time in a different form, playing Johnny Storm. But they had A-list actors, but in this case, it just seems like Pedro Pascal literally has 4 or 5 movies currently in theaters as we're speaking right now. Like, it's not anybody as hotter than him right now. You know what I mean? So they hit the mark when they had, oh, these people can act. This film was amazing in that regard. Things that I liked about it, I liked the grand scheme of it. The planet Earth, because there are many different versions of Earth in Marvel, or many different versions of Earth in Marvel and throughout the comics. So in this version of Earth, it looked like the 50s, 60s, but they had technology that was today's technology, or well past. So that was kind of cool, like flying cars and things of that nature. But it was in if you just look at the naked eye, it looked like it was in the 50s or 60s. So that was kind of interesting. I didn't know if I liked it. That's not even a word. I didn't know if I liked it or if I didn't like it, but I think I liked it. I don't know how I feel about that till right now. Visually impeccable. Certain of the characters, I love Reed Richards' brain. I love how Pedro Pascal dived into that and tapped into that. They didn't start from scratch, so they already, similar to Superman, they kind of gave you a little fast forward, a little, interject a little scene to let you know, okay, we all know who Fantastic Four, so we're not starting from day one. So we all have that established. But I was thinking, I I like that. I like that we're not starting from scratch. I like that we're starting from that point. I like the grand scheme of the film. I liked how the film was paced. I definitely liked how um, Johnny Storm, he just seemed like, oh, he was a ladies' man. Johnny Storm had way more depth to him in this film. Also, the comedy. When you get Marvel movies, you get a lot of satire and comedy, but it wasn't as much comedy, like infused like how older Marvel films were. This one, it was just comedy that just made sense. Like comedy that was just like three guys and a baby. Like it was just three superheroes and a baby at that. Like it was just practical comedy, which it flowed effortlessly well. Loved all that. Let's get to what I didn't like. I didn't like that. I liked the actor Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, but him being Reed Richards wasn't like when it comes to powers. There's not that many scenes where he's really showing his powers like that. There's one scene where he's getting like showing a stretch, but like realistically, you're not really seeing him in his full element. Johnny Storm, you're probably seeing him more on fire, but it's still nothing pertaining to like actually fighting. This is just practical, a lot of practical stuff in this. Even the whole clobbering time, they made kind of fun of his, saying like not to say it, but then when he actually said it's clobbering time, the scene was kind of womp womp. Like it should have been more of a thing, especially because they made it a thing. Galactus was massive, but he was a bit of a mute point. Like they couldn't have had like it was just like, okay, I'm big and tall. What can you really do with this? Like how can you really fight this? Like maybe if they added something or he had like some minions or something. I get it. Like he has the Silver Surfer, which we'll get into that in a second. But it was just like that. I was curious on how they were going to finish him. Were they going to defeat him? Were they going to kill him? What were they going to do? Because that is a big part. And then from what I hear, Galactus is not like a huge thing that's a part of the storyline. It's Doctor Doom. That is Robert Downey Jr., who is Doctor Doom now. He's going to be doing multiple films. So he's the new Thanos when it comes to the main villain that you'll see across multiple films. So I knew Galactus might have been a one-off, so I was curious at how they did that. It made sense, but that whole arc of Galactus was a little bit When it came to Silver Surfer, I loved how it's crazy how older films sometimes the graphics are technically better today, but some movies look better graphic wise than they do today. I thought Silver Surfer, like her face could not get into it. Like I know she's not technically being Silver Surfer, she's technically Silver Surfer's wife, I forget her name. But she looked a little wonky in the face. It looked weird. She had some dope scenes where she was surfing on lava and surfing on waves. I thought that was excellent. I thought I was super entertained. But then when it got to like visuals, it was like, this looks a little weird. And I'm not gonna hold you. Back in the day, the Chris Evans Fantastic Four, when the Silver Surfer's on the board and then he goes in between the board to look down and see Chris Evans coming at him, that was fire. They had one chase scene that was super fuego. But as a whole, you're not really seeing many powers. You're not really seeing them get into it like that, which I get it. It's first steps. It's the first movie, but the film felt like a bridge to something else. When actuality, this was supposed to be the meat and potatoes, the main thing that everybody's been waiting for, and it was not a bad film. But for us that's been waiting for this for a while, you just wish it's like, okay, more came to it, more to compare. Overall, the old Fantastic Four was more silly. This one was more serious, but some of the graphics were, well, when it came to Silver Surfer and the old one looked better than the new version. But as a whole, it visually looked great, and I was feeling that. Was it worth the wait? For how long we waited? No. Was it a good, solid film? Yes. There are two post-credit scenes. Let's make sure I get that out the way. The first post-credit scene, that's going to allude to what's coming in the future, in the near future. And the last post-credit scene is just a feel-good post-credit scene. They've been comparing Superman. They've been all this, oh, which is going to sell more? Oh, which is better? Superman. Completely two different movies. And you can tell one came from Marvel and it has their own thing and they're doing their own thing. And you could tell Marvel. So it's like you have James Gunn, who's been over it, who was at Marvel originally for mad long, and you could just tell some of the templates, but you could also see now he's the boss, so there's a lot more things he put in it that he might not want, that he would want, that might not, couldn't have did back in the day. In this version, Superman, you already told you, if you watched my previous video, how I feel about Superman. I'm not a huge fan of the character in general. In the film-wise, I can't compare the two. They're two different films, two different types of films. I obviously love Marvel more than I love Superman, but as a whole, I'm a DC fan through and through, even though I am still a Marvel fan. It's complicated. I'm getting off the topic. Regardless of the fact, you can't really compare them. I just had to say that because there's been a lot of, well, which one's doing more? Which one is better? But it's kind of hard to compare because they're completely different vibes, in my opinion. As a whole, though, I thought Fantastic Four was a great movie. It had big boy actors. It had great acting. It had great scenes of action when we got them. But I thought the ending was a little bit of a, I thought it just felt like a filler to get to the next big thing. Also, I feel like when Robert Downey Jr. got added to the equation, I feel like plans got changed. And I think that might have been the situation, but then once Robert Downey Jr. got involved for Dr. Doom, I think everything changed. And you could tell because now what's coming next is the big thing. Instead, this should have been the big thing. They should have implemented more action, but regardless, the story was still very good. I can't complain. I can't complain with that. But I just wish, some people are saying it felt rushed. It didn't necessarily felt rushed while you're watching it. You just felt like, oh, can I get another 20 minutes? Can I get another 20 minutes? Because usually the big movies, they're about closer to 3 hours. They're at least 2.5 hours. This one was 2 hours. So they made sure. So once again, feeling like a film that's goes to the next. But I personally thought if they just gave it, like me and my boy Tyler were talking, 20 more minutes, just to put a little bit more season, just to flush out a couple more thoughts, just to, dig a little bit deeper into certain themes, certain equations. But that being said, it wasn't a bad film. Was it worth that long wait? No. Was it still solid? Yes. Are you still gonna have a good time? Yes. And now, can you just wait for the next movie, Doomsday? No, because I want it now. And that's the only thing I will say. They're putting all their eggs in Doomsday. So Doomsday better hit, because the ones that they should have put all their into, they didn't. So we'll see on that. So, my final rating, I'm going to give it 4 more fires. More fire! More fire! More fire! More fire! Boom, 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 boom! Please like, subscribe to my lovely channel. Check out all my other videos and say something nice to somebody. Be better today than you were yesterday.